Okay, so I think I was on this page talking about what neutral means, talking about what an ultimatum is. You can bring that term down to something like, have you had an ultimatum? Has mom said, eat this or go to bed hungry? That type of thing would be an ultimatum that they might be familiar with. Um, let's see. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered round the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer. So, what animal says moo? Could you understand moo? What do you think the animals are talking about? Have you ever been to a meeting? What is a meeting? What kind of things do you discuss when you go to meetings? Um, why do you think that there's a lock on the door? And what makes this meeting an emergency? What does emergency mean? It has to be taken care of right away. So why do you think that this is an emergency meeting? What do you think the answer is going to be? So Farmer Brown's waiting for this answer. What is it? Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door and we'll send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows. So, you can ask, do you think this is a good deal? Should Farmer Brown give them the typewriter in exchange for the blankets? You can even talk about, like, how is Duck holding this note in his beak there? That's kind of funny since he doesn't have hands. He's using his beak to hold the note. So if he exchanges the typewriter for the blankets, that means the animals will get their blankets and Farmer Brown will have his typewriter back. So is there any way that they could possibly make any more demands? So talk about those things and let them weigh in on whether or not Farmer Brown should do that. If they were Farmer Brown, would they do that? And Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter. So you can talk about, what did the ducks and chickens finally get from Farmer Brown? They got the electric blankets, and where are they? Where are the chickens laying? They're here on the floor underneath the electric blanket. You can see it's plugged in here. And what are they doing? They're just sleeping. So do you think this is daytime or nighttime? We think it's nighttime. Work in some of those basic level questions in the middle of all these higher level questions as well. Then talk about, maybe the cows are sleeping standing up. Can you sleep standing up? That's kind of weird. What other animal sleeps standing up? So the next morning he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We'd like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Clickety, clack, quack. So do you think the ducks are going to get their diving board? And who is typing this note? And so what happened? So instead of the duck giving Farmer Brown back his typewriter, they decided that they were going to keep it. So now they're making demands of Farmer Brown too. So now what is Farmer Brown going to do? And then we look at the ends and we see the diving board. So we can assume that the ducks got their way and Farmer Brown gave him the diving board, and hopefully this time he actually got the typewriter back and they didn't pass it on to a pig or a sheep, or you can have them, what other animal might want something on the farm and what would they want? So the ducks didn't want an electric blanket, they wanted a diving board for their pond. What would a pig maybe want? Maybe something to roll around in the mud. What would a horse want? What would a sheep want? What would a goat want? So have them start to kind of creatively think about what other animals might want the farmer to give them for them to have some fun on the farm. And then you can talk about, what do you think they do off the diving board? If you ever jumped off a diving board, how do you think that diving board got to the pond? And those type of things. And then this does come with a CD at the end that the teachers can use too. So that was part 2 of Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. Hopefully that gave you a lot of ideas about how to kind of structure some questions so that you get some of those basic level ones, but you also include some of those higher order questions that really kind of engage those critical thinking skills. Bye-bye.